What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the show. It is Wednesday morning, and we have a new ESPN Power Rankings to talk about. The Seahawks still can't really escape the category of mid. We talk about whether or not I agree. Plus, the Seahawks are reportedly very close to a reunion with a former Seattle cornerback. That is Shaquille Griffin. We'll talk about that. And a couple of early cuts after minicamp. All that and more right here today on You Got It, Seahawks Now. But first, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Really helps the channel out. Comment down below as well. Who is your favorite rookie in the latest draft? Is it Jalen Milroe? Is it Gray Zabel? Is it Elijah Arroyo? Is it Nick Emanwari? Is it somebody else? Let me know down below. I want to hear your guys' thoughts. Let's get into it, Let's get into it. Seahawks, number 16 in the NFL, mid, right? I just don't understand. At this point, the power rankings, it's a preseason, so they're not super. I mean, you can't read too much into it. But at the same time, the Seahawks continue to be disrespected. That is what I think that this is. I think it's a case of some disrespect. I mean, look, when you think about the Seahawks, you think about a team that has upgraded at multiple positions this offseason. You think about a team that has really been aggressive. I will say that. I think they've been aggressive to improve this team. They went out and got Sam Darnold. They went out and got Cooper Kupp. They went out and got DeMarcus Lawrence. They took some of the most athletic players in the draft class. They traded up to take a really good safety. And yet they still don't think the Seahawks are any good. It's like, did they even watch the Vikings last year? Here's what they write. They write about the power rankings. They say, this is about the entire quarterback room because it remains to be seen whether Sam Darnold will be better than Geno Smith. But there's no question Seattle has improved the position as a whole. Drew Lock is an upgrade over Sam Howell. Jalen Milroe is an upgrade over Jaren Hall. He gives the Seahawks an explosive playmaker. He can immediately make an impact in specialty run packages while he develops as a passer. So that's what I'm confused about. He says he's not sure if Darnold will be better than Geno Smith, but he agrees that the rest of the quarterbacks are better. But then he ranks us at number 16, which is the same place we were ranked before the draft. Now, here's my thing. If you're going to say, I'm not sure if Darnold is better than Geno Smith, I think that's kind of foolish. Because if you look at the stats last year, he clearly was, right? We've talked about this so many times. I'm going to say it again, though. Sam Darnold, last season, Sam Darnold threw for over 35 touchdowns. Like, he was a actual really good quarterback. And I get that he was bad in previous years. And we'll see what happens, right? We'll see what happens. I understand that, yes, he wasn't great with the Panthers. He was certainly not great with the Jets. But last year, he was excellent. He went 14-3. He threw 35 touchdowns, only 12 interceptions. Geno Smith threw only 21 touchdowns and 15 interceptions. And I get that touchdown to interception is not the only ratio, but Sam Darnold last year with a 60.4 QBR, 102.5 quarterback rating, threw for 254 yards per game, 66.2% completion. The only thing Geno Smith has on him is that completion percentage, but when you consider the arm that Sam Darnold has and his ability to make big plays down the field, I think you have to think that Darnold's a better quarterback right now. I think he's a better quarterback. So again, it just annoys me when I see these analysts saying, well, we don't know if Darnold's going to be better than Geno. I think he is. I think he's proven that. He's younger. He's more athletic, a better arm. And last year he had much better numbers. So I think he is better than Geno. I think I can pretty definitively say that. And to the rest of them who don't understand that yet, they're going to find this out. Sam Darnold is a really good player. He's gonna have a good season. I don't know what to tell you guys other than that. But let's move on. The Seahawks are reportedly they're nearing a deal with cornerback Shaquille Griffin. How about that? Shaq Griffin obviously was a former starter with the Seahawks, and according to multiple sources, the Seahawks are currently discussing a reunion with Shaquille Griffin. Jeremy Fowler of ESPN, he's reporting this morning. Seattle is looking for a veteran corner and has Griffin, who made the Pro Bowl as a Seahawk in 2019, high on its list. No deal reached as of now, but they are in discussions. And we've talked about the possibility of this. There was a report about a month ago that they were interested in him, and now it does sound like theoretically he is going to come on board. And I'm kind of excited about this. Hard to know what exactly he can be. But last year he had a really nice bounce back season. So if you look at his career, he's had a kind of an interesting career trajectory. He starts in Seattle. As a rookie, he was a third-round pick, makes 11 starts in 2017, 1 interception, 15 passes defended with an approximate value of 4. So he had a pretty good season as a rookie. Then in 2018, he starts in 16 games, 2 picks, and an approximate value of 6, ends up with 8 passes defended. In 2014, he was locked down, starts 14 games, 13 passes defended, no interceptions, but he does end up with 65 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 8 approximate value, and he made the Pro Bowl that year, so he was really good. He was like a lockdown. Nobody even threw his way. In 2020, at the age of 25, he starts 12 games, does get hurt then, but ends up with 3 interceptions, 12 passes defended, an approximate value of 5, so another good season. Then signs as a free agent with Jacksonville and just totally falls off the cliff. In 2021, he started 14 games for them, no interceptions, 7 passes defended with an approximate value of 4. And then in 2022, he only manages 5 starts. He got hurt. Again, no interceptions in his time with the Jaguars. Ends up with 4 passes defended, an approximate value score of 2. And then in 2023, he kind of bounced around. He started 6 games with Houston. Then he got traded to Carolina, started 1 game with them. Again, he does end up with 1 interception with the Texans, but just 5 passes defended and an approximate value of 3. And then last year, he kind of took on a new role as a nickel cornerback for the Minnesota Vikings and actually played a pretty impressive role in their defense. Even though he only started 3 games, he actually played in all 17, first time in his career that he's played in all 17 games in the season. He ends up with 2 interceptions for 28 return yards, which is the most in his career, 41 tackles, 6 passes defended, 8 tackles for loss, and an approximate value score of 2. So, yeah, is he a star anymore? No, he's not. Is he even a starting cornerback anymore? No, he's not. But he bounced back nicely last year. He actually managed to stay healthy the whole season, which is impressive. He did come away with a couple of big-time interceptions for the Vikings, and he proved that he can be a really good kind of a nickel corner, kind of a third corner option. He doesn't have to be in that starting role. He's willing to do what it takes to help his team win, and if that means moving to the bench and playing nickel corner, that's what that means for him. That's what he's done. That's what he did last year with Minnesota, and it actually worked out really well for him. So I'd be really interested to see, because if he comes to Seattle, he's not coming to start, right? He'd be behind. He'd at least be behind Devon Witherspoon on the depth chart. He'd very, very likely also be behind most of the other guys. He'd probably be behind Reek Woolen. I'm not sure about Mike Jackson. I think he'd probably be behind Mike Jackson. At this point, he'd be behind him on the depth chart as well. But it is an interesting thing to think about, right? To bring him in as kind of your third or fourth option at cornerback, have him play some nickel, and just get him in there if guys get hurt, as a depth piece, a veteran voice in that locker room, a guy who is familiar with the Seahawks. Yeah, I'd be down for that. So I'd love to see him hopefully sign with Seattle later today or tomorrow. All right, finally, the Seahawks have announced a couple of roster cuts, and this is always, it always sucks when the Seahawks have to cut players, but that's how it works, right? You only get 53 guys, and, the Seahawks currently have over 90, so yeah, they did have to make a couple of waives. They've waived 2 players, so not that much, but they've waived defensive end TJ Jackson and linebacker Jackson Woodard. Both of those guys signed last week as UDFAs, and they now have 2 open spots on their 90-man preseason roster. So not a whole lot there. TJ Jackson was never going to make this roster, and neither was Jackson Woodard. I will say, on the topic of Jackson Woodard, he's a guy who I do think that it would have been cool just because we had so many guys from his school. He played for UNLV. We had like 5 UNLV guys, but yeah, he was the Mountain West Defensive Player of the Year actually last year. But that doesn't matter for him. He is not going to be with the Seattle Seahawks. Maybe he'll find a home somewhere else in the league. I hope he does. Honestly, for a guy who wins Conference Defensive Player of the Year, you'd think he could find a home in the NFL, but the NFL is a weird place where what you did in college does not matter. A lot of it comes down to your physical attributes. A lot of it comes down to your knowledge, your mental attributes. So if you don't have that, you don't have what it takes to be in the league, and that's kind of what we're finding out with a lot of these guys. With that all being said, that's going to wrap things up for today. Make sure, like I said, leave a comment down below. How would you feel about bringing back Shaquille Griffin? I think I'd be pretty happy with it, as long as he's not like an everyday starter, which I don't think he will be. So, yeah, I'd be totally down with seeing Shaq Griffin come back to Seattle. With that all being said, we'll see you tomorrow, and as always, until next time, go Seahawks.